Good
Good
morning,
morning,
Ruth.
Mary. How are you? How are
I'm
you?
well.
Look
How are
at you
you?
with your Christmas tree. You look amazing.
Thank you. I am set. I'm starting to finally feel like I can let my own breath out with my preparations and just coast now. If it's done, it's done. If not, it's all good.
Good for you.
So,
That's amazing.
thanks. And there's a reason for it too, actually. So,
Hmm.
and it has to do with the fact that my daughter is coming home from school today. So, which is perfect for our subject of the day. So, what we'd like to talk about today, our intention is to talk about welcoming home our adult children and how we balance our new normal with that infusion of energy and a lot of laughter. So, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to sharing this discussion with you, Ruth.
Yeah. We're going to look at this from all different angles and, not just adult children, but family members and how life changes when you refill that nest with whatever you're refilling it with. So, with laughter in mind, you and I had a conversation earlier this week about laughter yoga. So I thought, what a great way, since we start with some kind of guided meditation. After the intention, we do some kind of centering exercise. So we're going to do a little bit of an introduction, my interpretation of laughter yoga and reaping the benefits of that deep breath, that deep diaphragmatic breathing, which is how we can pull ourselves back to center. So you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. This one we do with our eyes open. How cool is that?
Oh, how
So you're
fun.
going to take the exercise here is we're going to take a deep breath in through our nose and then hold it just for a second at the top, not hold it like we usually do and let it rain down, but just for a second. And then you're going to let it out in pops in a ha, 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 ha. Okay? It's the first
Okay.
exercise we're going to do. Ready? Deep breath in. Let it out in pops. Ha, 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 ha. Feel the difference in your diaphragm. So now put your finger on your belly and add a smile to the pop. Ready? Deep breath in and out. Ha, 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 ha. All right, let's do it again. And now feel it a little more deeply. Ready? Breathe in and pop it out. Ha, ha.
It's hard
No,
not
I
to
can't
listen.
stop laughing. So this contagious kind of feeling is something that you can spread throughout your day. Well, let's talk a little bit about laughter yoga because I feel like I kind of did it a disservice there. And put our spin on it. New normal, new laughter, new whatever, right? We got to put our
Yep.
own spin on everything. The laughter yoga is a very serious thing, believe it or not, and it's all about that deep breath. And it's all about that diaphragmatic breathing. And laughter is the most amazing way to put yourself in that diaphragmatic breathing. Absolutely love it.
I love
So
it
it's
because oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you're good.
I like the fact that it felt controlled, but I also like the fact that you can kind of melt into the uncontrolled, which
Yeah. And let it bubble. Let it bubble and do whatever it's going to do. And I wonder if that wouldn't be a great exercise to do with your family at the table. I mean, there's always that risk that they're going to call the men with the little white coats to take you away. However, it might be worth it for a good laugh.
if they haven't done it by now, it's going to take a lot for them to do it.
That's great. That's great. So today, Caitlin comes home.
Caitlin comes home, and I'm obviously chomping at the bit to have her back in my arms. It
Mm.
it's been a long semester.
For those who don't know, how old is Caitlin? Where is she? Life path, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. She's my oldest. She's 21 and she lives in Missouri. Well, she goes to school in Missouri, so she's a couple of states away. Um, she doesn't come home from the time she leaves from school for school in August. She doesn't come home until Christmas break because their Thanksgiving break is so short, and it's a full day of travel, even though it's only 2 states away. Her school is so far away from the airport that
Oh yeah.
it's the big welcome home, and it's a bigger welcome home. It's her last Christmas break because she's a senior. So there's many celebrations, many layers of celebrating that will be happening today. And
Oh, that's so cool.
I got my
I have this vision. I have this vision of you in the airport, in Denver International Airport, waiting for Caitlin, with the big smile, not being able to stand still, that anticipation just bubbling up all over the place. Pretty accurate?
Pretty accurate. And it's an added bonus because she doesn't know that her dad and her sister will be there today. So
oh, cool. And what about Scooby-Doo?
And Scooby-Doo will be there for his first visit to the airport. So she has no idea who's going to be there. It's all planned as a big surprise to welcome her home. They're going to come up behind us and ask for directions. So she thinks it's
That's great.
So
that's great. Infusing, and I think that's an important thing to to talk about at this point. You infuse those little bits of unexpected joy, and that little bit of magic just makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it?
It does. And I think when we talk about our adult children too, I think there's a recollection that to some degree they want to feel mama's touch. They want to feel the security of a dad blanket or whatever it is. She's been texting.
Right.
My first text at 4 a.m. from her this morning. So I'm on the shuttle. And
yeah. So she's excited too. That's awesome.
She's excited. And I think that it's so fun because the excitement builds, and it's that infusion of energy and laughter. That's what it brings. So when you say you see me dancing in the airport, oh yeah, I will be fidgeting like a bunny in the snow. So
yeah, exactly. That's amazing. So when we're talking about finding your new normal, and you're already talking about, adding things like your husband and your younger daughter coming up behind you, are there other things that you're thinking about doing, new things, how does that help you?
That
was kind of a crazy question, wasn't it?
No, I think it's a great question, and it's so appropriate for what we talk about when we talk about finding our new normal, especially after brain injury or any other kind of significant cognitive change. Communication becomes key, especially when you've had a gap in seeing each other eyeball to eyeball, so to speak. You can communicate, but it's different when there's a presence, when they are present under your roof again. So managing expectations up front, I think is important.
I don't know why I found that so funny. Managing expectations up front. I mean, that's like reading from a business manual, but you're talking about, that dance of human interaction, that I bow, you move kind of thing. That's difficult, and especially when it's family that's been on their own for a while, and you have expectations, they have expectations. They don't always meet in the middle.
Don't always meet in the middle, but one of the obvious ones, which is an easy one to put out on the table, but not necessarily easy to talk about, is obviously she's over 21. She can drink.
Mm-hmm.
We had, her dad and I enjoy a glass of wine as much as the next person, so to speak, but we're also cautious because there's a strong family history going back of alcoholism. So we've cautioned our children about that link, if you will. So we've had those discussions up front. Those are easier to talk about. One of the discussions that I also had with her, and we had it before she left for school because she was obviously home after I had my accident. But it's
right.
Sometimes moms brain still doesn't get the words out. And it could be, different from one day to the next. Yesterday was one of those days I could not find the words, or they got stuck on my tongue as I was trying to speak. And letting her know that may cause me to get frustrated with myself, but don't take it personally if it happens. So just a couple things that I've noticed to help her prepare for who I am a year out and what the holidays look like this year. But then on the flip side, there are things I was going to say that we're welcoming back in that we let go of last year. We didn't do the theater last year, which is one of our traditions, because I couldn't. But we're doing it a little bit different this year. So we're bringing it back in because she said her expectation was, that's really important to me, Mom, if you can do it. So that's what I talk about when I say managing expectations.
That's a great perspective. And I think one of the things that you point out so well is that you don't return to exactly where you were, especially after a change in general, whether that's a brain injury, or whether that's in some cases a divorce, or in some cases after a death, or whatever that big significant change is, things don't return exactly to where they were. So it's like someone saying to you, so when are you going to get better? When are these words going to come more easily, Mom? That's not a productive conversation. It's shifting the conversation. It's shifting expectations. And I think expectations on all sides need to shift. Not just on our side, but on our family sides, on the people that we interact with sides as well.
Exactly. I think what you're talking about is, it's when you say that, when are you going to get better? It's what they're really asking is, when are you going to be normal again?
Right. When are we going to be normal again? When is our family going to be normal again? When can I go back to, there's 14 traditions that we've done since I was a toddler,
Exactly, because those become their security blanket in many ways. So that's as much a security blanket for them, and in many ways for us. So learning to be okay, saying it's okay. It's okay that I'm not doing the baking I once did, or it's okay that the obnoxious loud Santa isn't out this year. It's okay. And because they're adults, it's somewhat easier to let go, but also help them transition. I think it's all a part of the transition also to whatever that new normal is. You talked about the changes. And part of that new normal is then, if it's an empty nest, whether they're coming home and still going out with the school years, or they've come home temporarily with the, I think they call it the boomerang generation, where they're coming back and then moving back out and then coming back. All of those things contribute to a different normal. And it's a new normal with adult children. So, I mean, you have it.
And in my case, and in my case, my son is, has his own place. And yes, he lives close. And I thought that was going to be so cool and so amazing, because I was so used to being far away. He went away to school, and when he came home, he lived under my roof. So I got to meet him at the airport and hug him. And I miss that whole ceremony of the coming home. That's so cool. So I can live that through you, which is kind of nice. I like that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Caitlin, too. So, but what we're experiencing is I miss that spending the whole day together. I miss that, he'll come over and he'll visit, and then he goes home after a couple hours across town. But he's still that much, he's far away. So I feel like at the holidays, we used to spend more time together when he didn't live close to me, which is a very strange kind of feeling. And that's an odd thing to say. But, we're going away, just my husband, my son, and I, so that I can get that back. Don't tell him that, but I can get that back.
And I don't think that even if he knew, but I understand what you're saying. I think there is something that's so special about saying, you can't just go home tonight. You get to sleep under my roof.
Our deputy captain. Yes.
Exactly. You'll be sleeping under my roof, and I can feel you nearby, even if it's only temporary and it's not really my roof, but it's. I think there is something that is extra special about that. You know, a couple years ago, we went on a family vacation, and it was a family vacation to a cabin up in a fairly secluded area for a week. No Wi-Fi. I don't think in fact, I know we never once turned on a television. But there was a beauty in that it was a simplicity and there was a togetherness that it's easy to lose, whether it's your child lives in the same town and they're adult and they have their own place and they go home, or your child is doing this all day long with a phone in their face.
Right.
Those things that can bring back that one-on-one connection, and that I think we feel we lose as they grow older. So,
right. And you know, it's not just the child at the table like this. It's the moms. You know, It's the connected guilty. Yeah, absolutely. Guilty. It's that being present for each other. And I think that going away is going to be, we've had some significant changes in our lives this year in how we live, which is very cool. And we're rolling all these new things in, like the gratitude ceremony, you know, the gratitude despacho at Thanksgiving. Yes. We're going to figure out new ceremonies and we're going to create them together. Full moon on Christmas Eve. How cool is that? Absolutely. Let's do the ceremony long distance.
Yes, you know? yes. I think that's fabulous.
You know, so it's that kind of thing. So establish those kind of binding, relationship strengthening exercises where we really physically go through a ritual that keeps us closer, that connects us with each other, connects us with the earth, connects us with the way the universe is working. You know, all that stuff is just, it's grounding, very grounding. So that's what we hope to do. And I've been in every spare moment, and even when I shouldn't be thinking about it, I'm thinking about, okay, so should we do layers this time, you know, different colors and different layers with each part of, with each part of the ceremony? Should we tape it? Should we share it? What do we do? Do we have fire? All those great things.
I would love it if you shared it. I would love to see it. But I think that one of the things that I love about that too is, again, when looking at our adult children, they're also, I think, in many ways looking for a new normal too with us. They want to, as Kate says, well, Mom, are you going to be okay if I have a glass of wine if we go out? And I'm like, yeah. And her new normal is, I'm an adult. Can I drink in front of my parents and be the adult and be seen as the adult?
Right.
Or is Mom still looking at me as the little girl that sits at the top of the stairs waiting to go down on Christmas morn?
I think that, and in some respects, they are still that child. And in some respects, we're still that child. Whatever your tradition is, that wonder, we need to encourage our adult children to not lose that wonder.
The magic.
And we need to encourage ourselves not to lose that magic and the wonder. And our traditions, your traditions and my historic traditions are vastly different. But where we meet, right in the middle and solidly, is that the magic of connecting with other people, the magic of that dance of human interaction, that whole beautiful thing that comes about.
One of the traditions, and this was funny last year, that they were not absolutely positively willing to let go of, was ever since they were little girls, we did, on Christmas Eve, we would go out and do what we called Santa spotting. And right before we left the house, I would sneak in and I would put their little wrapped pajamas in wherever it was. usually the cottage after it was built. So Santa would visit while we were out. But it was still Santa spot. And really what it's become is let's go look at all the decorated houses. But they still call it Santa spotting. Are we going Santa spotting this year? And I can't but sit in that front seat as Gio is driving saying, oh, I think I see the red light of a sleigh. I think I do.
So here, shake it up this year. Shake it up this year. Bring some bells in your pocket.
Oh, I love that idea.
Bring magic and wonder, Mary. It's about being able to share that with our families and being able to ground ourselves enough to know that we can plant those seeds of magic and wonder. And then once they are solid and they start growing and they take root, we cast them to the wind and see what happens. It's about magic. It's about wonder. It's about connection. It's about belief in, we're surrounded by all this negative, horrible stuff in the world.
Yep.
Let's spread some wonder. Let's spread some awe-inspiring, not just awesome stuff, but awe-inspiring.
I was sharing with some friends last night that when the girls were little, the tradition that we shared with them, and rather than going out and buying every single one of their friends a little gift, was we would host a craft party. And so I would have, I don't even know how many kids come over. And I would have different craft stations set up throughout the house so that they could make gifts for themselves or to give away or whatever. And it was so much fun because I watched Lexi's face light up and she went right back to those memories last night. And it was just,
oh, that's great.
That's what you're talking about is, there are those things that we're not doing them anymore, but the memories still take root and that magic is still alive. If that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, so, and I think let's focus on making that contagious.
Exactly. Welcome, Doreen, and welcome, Madge.
Yeah. Hello. Welcome. And I know Madge very well, and I know how difficult it was for her to get on to this whole thing. So thank you, Madge. Thank you for coming. So I think let's talk about shifting perspective a little bit too.
That's important.
As our families change, we're in this kind of awkward position where both of my parents have passed. So as each one of them moved on, my life changed and how I approach things like my legacy and my connection with the rest of my family changed. I don't see that as, I think that's in some ways very similar to what we go through with brain injury. We have to shift the focus. We have to take the time to figure out what's still important. How do we spread that? How do we not lose the joy in the loss? So we're talking about loss of self and loss of how you positioned yourself historically, how I positioned myself historically, and how we do that and not lose all of the good, all of the joy. How do we do that? That's a real challenge. And infuse new things like our focus this year on making awe-inspiring acts contagious. I love that.
I love that too. And I do think that it's they can be subtle transitions, subtle changes, maybe even in what we used to do, but that bring us new laughter. I think for me, it's finding out what the core is in the holiday. For us, it was always, and I can never imagine this one changing, but it's laughter. Laughter and gratitude.
Yes.
Those are the two biggies in our house, and those are what I really always try to make the focus of our holidays being. And yes, there were things that changed, and I sit there and I think, In fact, it was just a couple days ago, or maybe it's today, that's a year out from mine, my brain injury. And
Wow.
I
Can we
think
take a second and celebrate that? Can we take a second and celebrate how far you've come? Because I spoke to you on day 2. Well, I didn't speak to you. We did not speak for about a month, but we communicated with each other. And the day after your accident, so a year ago tomorrow.
yeah, I think that
I know how far you've come. I get it.
I still think about I think about the fact that I thought I was such a great actress when I was talking to you, because I was so convinced that there was no oh no.
Oh, I can hide from this one. No worries. No worries. I got this. Yeah.
And then as it starts to cascade, as we've talked about. But I think about the fact that it's like we are here, and subtle transitions that you can, there are traditions that we're keeping but are being tweaked, if that makes sense.
Right. Yes.
And I do think that finding whatever the core thread is, I love the fact that you said we're going to take this gratitude ceremony with us when we go to our little respite, if you will, and share. I love that.
Yeah, and I think we're going to turn it into something different too. You know, we'll take the gratitude ceremony was amazing, but again, it's making it new, shaking things up, infusing a little bit of the unexpected. And that's what I need to figure out how to do, is take this core, this beautiful core that we're building, and add up and put in the unexpected. And then you've got, then you have this awe-inspiring activity, something that stays in your heart, something that's worth sharing, worth spreading.
Exactly.
And
go ahead.
Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about a year ago today was your accident. What kinds of things, lingering things, do you have that will that you're going to change? I mean, lingering, like noises, people, anything that's hanging on that you intentionally will change this year?
I'm limiting the amount of stuff that's, you mean in terms of traditions or whatever I'm changing holiday wise?
Yes. Yes. Or focus, or what you do, or where you go, or how you interact.
I think the biggest thing is a whole lot of just patience and acceptance. I am so used to being the conductor of everything and having it perfect that I've really had to just get to a place that says, it's okay. The neighbor came over with some baked goods for us, and I thought, oh, I've got to get on that baking. And I thought, or not. I could pick up a box of chocolates, and say, thanks, glad you're our neighbor. And keeping it simple to the place so that I can put my energy in the other places that I want to. That I say, this is a higher priority. I really want to spend some time at the sewing machine with both daughters, because both have asked for that this holiday break. Yay.
Good.
So that
that's the most brain healthy thing you can do for yourself, for your kids, for everything. That creative, sharing the creative process. Absolutely amazing. Oh, it's 8:29. How did that happen? Every time. Laugh, my friend. Laugh, laugh, laugh. Should we end on laughter?
Lots of laughter.
Lots and lots of laughter. We're gonna spend next week with our families, right?
Yes, we are.
Next Thursday.
Laughing and sharing and welcoming in the new full moon.
Yeah, welcoming in the new full moon. How great is that? So, ready? Breathe in through your nose and pop it out. Ha, 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 ha.
I love
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
See you on New Year's Eve.
Yes, and we'll talk about
right here. I'll see you here on New Year's Eve.
I will see
I wish
you
you were
here.
in person, but right here.
Wouldn't
Yes.
that be lovely?
Yes.
Blessings. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.